Hey guys, and welcome to or back to the Paws in Pursuit podcast with your host Summer Clark. So today we've got a slightly shorter than usual solo episode. If I'm being completely honest, I don't have the brain capacity to come up with really long episodes at the moment. As you know, I unfortunately lost Earl, my old 13-year-old border terrier, last Friday. No, not last Friday, Friday before. So I've just been struggling, obviously, a little bit lately. I'm doing all right. Thank you for all your messages asking me how I am getting on. I am okay. Ethel and Arrow are okay. It's just obviously horrible. An experience that I just wish I would never have to go through again. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It was horrible. And, you know, it's the first time I've been through it. I sympathise with everyone who's ever been through it because it is awful. So this episode's kind of going to be a tribute to Earl. He was 13. I got him when he was 8. He was my first dog, first agility dog. I saved up my own pocket money for him. And I had him for 13 years. So when he was 9, 4 years ago, obviously, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer and was given 2 to 18 months to live. Anyway, we decided not to do chemo or any of that because obviously it makes them feel ill and we can't explain why they feel ill if we were to do that. So he went on a bit of medication and painkillers and stuff like that. Anyway, he's lived for 4 years extra than what they gave him. They gave him 2 to 18 months, and 4 years later he's still he was still here. But then he seemed to be in more discomfort and there was blood in his urine, so we got him a scan and the cancer had spread to his bladder and his back end started to go. He couldn't urinate for himself. He had to wear little nappies and we had to sort of help him urinate. And it was starting to block up the back end, if that makes sense. So he was just really uncomfortable. You know, it was clearly his time to go. So we did the best thing we could do for him and we let him go that Friday. And it was horrible, but the day before I took him out, we had a Mackey's. He got a double cheeseburger. He got a puppuccino from Starbucks. We went on a little drive. It's really nice. Had a little photo shoot in the garden. It was beautiful weather. And then the next day we took him to the vet and he had so many gravy bones and so many chocolates. Oh my god, his little face when he had chocolate for the first time. So he had an amazing last few days. You know, he's had a great 13 years. He's done so much more than a lot of dogs do. I know he's had a brilliant life. And yeah, so that is what happened to me lately. Like I said, thank you all so much for all your kind messages. But today I'm going to be talking about lessons that my first dog taught me, as a little tribute to Earl. So this might be particularly helpful if any of you are kind of young and your parents don't want you to have a dog, like the situation I was in before I got Earl. These are the lessons that my first dog actually taught me, and I owe everything to Earl because I just wouldn't be the same person I am today. If it wasn't for Earl, I wouldn't have the career that I've got, you know, I wouldn't have the prospects that I've got, I wouldn't have had the agility experiences that I've had. I generally don't know where I would be in life if I hadn't got Earl. It would be completely different. So let's crack on and get into the lessons that my first dog taught me. So number 1 is responsibility. So Earl taught me how to care for something and act responsibly to ensure its well-being. So to be honest, when you're 8 years old, you barely even look after yourself. You know, you've got your parents there, you're still a child, you basically just get up, mum makes you breakfast, you go to school, come home, mum makes you tea and stuff like that. Maybe go out with a few friends around the neighbourhood if you want. But, you know, getting a dog at 8 years old and it being my dog, my responsibility, I paid for him, you know, all my money went towards him, bought his stuff like that. That gave me that sense of responsibility that I'd never had before of caring for something, and I needed to be responsible in order for him to be happy and healthy. So yeah, he taught me how it feels to know that your choices and actions affect other individuals. So, you know, it's not just myself that I was making my choices for and acting for, it was Earl. So every choice I made impacted him. You know, I had to choose his food, you know, when to give him his food, what training to do with him, and just all the stuff like that. You know, when to get up in the morning to let him out, when he'll need to go out every few hours or stuff like that. Especially when they're a puppy, they are a full-time job, and I went through that when I was 8, so he taught me how to be a responsible human being, basically. Number 2 is purpose. So he taught me what it feels like to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning, and that sounds really deep. And no, I wasn't depressed when I was 8. That sounds really bad. I know what it sounds like. But, you know, you kind of get up when you're 8, don't you? You get up, get ready, go to school. You kind of just, you're in school, aren't you? A lot of people don't have hobbies when they're that age. A lot of people still don't have hobbies now, so I'm very thankful to have agility, which has turned into more of a hobby. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent already, and it's only point 2. But yeah, he taught me what it feels like to dedicate everything you do and every effort you put into your day to something bigger than yourself. So you're not just going about your day doing everything for yourself. You know, when you're a child, it's your world, isn't it? You know, you're still learning and exploring for yourself. But Earl taught me, you know, that everything I did in my day and all the efforts I put into my day really were for Earl. And that to me was bigger than just myself, because it was for something else, someone else. So number 3 is love, obviously. And a lot of these probably sound really cringy and cliche, but to be honest, they are true. He taught me what it feels like to love something unconditionally. So it feels like a child, doesn't it, when you have a dog? He felt like my little baby. He was my pride and joy. And I honestly had that, because like you have friends, don't you? But you're like, well, if they screw me over or bitch about me, you know, I'm not going to like them anymore. I'm not going to want to be their friend anymore. But Earl, like I would just love him no matter what, unconditionally. And that was the first time I felt that as a child. He taught me what it feels like to love something so much that you value its well-being just as much as, or if not more than, your own. So, you know, I cared for this dog so much that his well-being was just as important, if not more important to me than my own, which, like I said in an earlier point, as a child you don't really have that. Often, you know, you're just more or less focusing on yourself and school and stuff like that. But he did teach me what it feels like to love something so much that they're your priority and you do anything for them, and no matter what they did, you would love them just the same. And number 4 is gratitude. So he taught me to be grateful for the little things and appreciate everything every day. So you'll probably know what I mean when I say it's very easy for us to, you know, forget about the little things and take them for granted, just breeze through the day doing these little things and just thinking they're either a chore or just something everyone does, when really we could lose them at any moment. Losing Earl taught me the importance of appreciating what you've got, because you never know when it's going to be taken away from you. So if you've got dogs, go give them a hug right now for me. That's not a request, that's an order. Especially old dogs, you know, you never know when they're going to go downhill, but even young dogs, you never know when they're going to get ill all of a sudden, or, you know, you just never know when your last day with your dog really is. And I'm not saying that to scare you, I'm saying that to make you realise, to appreciate all the things, you know, appreciate your dog's just being there and healthy every single day. And so yeah, he taught me gratitude, obviously while he was alive, but also losing him taught me, or reminded me, just how important it is to have gratitude and appreciate all the things that have become normal seeming to you. And I'll admit it, like, you know, having Earl for over half my life, I'm nearly 22 now, and I got him when I was 8. You know, it becomes the norm, obviously. He's there all the time. He's part of the household. You know, you get into a routine, you forget to sit there and think, you know, oh, thank God, I'm so grateful that he's here, and do you know what I mean? So every day just try and remember, especially doing agility, you know, you could have a terrible run, but you have to be grateful your dog's healthy and happy. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, because I'm not. It is quite difficult to remember in the moment, especially when things are going wrong, but just being grateful and appreciating those little things all the time, and just keep reminding yourself of them, basically. So number 5 is commitment. So he taught me how to commit myself to something until the very end. Again, sounds a bit dark, but when you get a dog, as they say, a dog is for life, not just for Christmas. When you get a dog, that's it, for life. You have to commit to ensuring the health, happiness and well-being of that dog for the rest of its life. And that is a really important thing that I learnt when I was at such a young age, because, you know, you don't really think that far ahead when you're that age, do you? You don't think, oh, this is my responsibility for the next potentially 16, 17 years a lot of dogs can live up to. So when I got Earl, understanding that this was for the long run, and this was something that isn't a novelty thing that wears off, or I can just do for a few weeks until I get bored. This is actually something to commit to for the rest of Earl's life. And I gladly did that, but I know I've heard obviously a lot of parents get their children dogs and then they go off them in a few weeks and get bored of the chores, and then the parents end up looking after them. But Earl taught me that just isn't how it is. The bond I had with Earl, I would never get bored of that when I was that age anyway. Obviously I love dogs, so it made me less inclined to get bored. And yes, there's hard days and tough times and going out in the rain and stuff like that, but he really taught me that, no matter the weather, no matter how tired you are, no matter what mood you're in, you have to commit to something. And I've still got that attitude to this very day. If I start something, I will finish it, no matter how long it takes. And I also want to do everything I do 100% to the best of my ability, which can become an issue when I get obsessive over things, and I'd rather not do something than do something half-heartedly. But yeah, I think he taught me that. He taught me to do everything, just if you start something, do it properly and commit to it for the rest of time, basically. And then 6 is dedication, so he taught me how to dedicate myself to my goals until I've achieved them. So this is kind of where training and agility comes in. Obviously Earl was my first agility dog. He was the first dog, that I experienced competing with, and he literally did introduce me to the world that I'm still in all these years later, which I will be eternally grateful for. But anyway, so in agility, my goal, goals start small. So get your dog to grade 1, get your dog out of grade 1, get your dog to grade 2. Oh, imagine that. Imagine if we started at grade 0. No thanks. Anyway, so he taught me not to give up. He taught me to just keep dedicating myself to that until it happens. And it did. I got him to grade 6 and then I retired him because he was no longer enjoying it or looking comfortable. So I didn't give up at grade 6 because it was too hard. That was for him. But anyway, my point is, he taught me that it's the long game. You're playing the long game in everything in life, really. But agility is a huge example of that. It isn't going to happen. You're not going to get like championship status in a few months or even years, probably. It takes a long time, but he taught me the importance of being dedicated to those long-term goals and sticking it out, even though it takes forever and even though there's those tough days. So number 7 is patience. So he taught me how to be patient, take my time and enjoy the journey as well as the destination. So again, hugely agility related there. You have to be so patient training a dog, not just agility, training him tricks, obedience. He was my first for all of that. So, he taught me not to rush through things trying to get to the end goal, a bit like back to the dedication aspect, be patient and, don't rush the process, enjoy the process, because the training process is just as rewarding as the destination of, say, getting that final win to grade 7 or whatever. If it wasn't for the process, the destination wouldn't even happen. If you just got given a dog out of nowhere, took it into a champ class and won it a ticket, but it was already fully trained. No hate on people that do run other people's dogs, but I can't imagine for me that would feel quite the same as, say, training my own dog for years and years, having really tough times that I've had to overcome by myself with that dog, and then eventually winning that ticket after all that work and hardships. That I just feel like that would feel more special to me. Again, that's just my opinion. And you still have to be a bloody brilliant handler to handle a dog that's already trained anyway, just to run those champ courses and stuff. So it impresses me. However, for me, I just think it'd feel more special after all that patience, after all that waiting, and after all that work. So obviously, again, as a child, you're more you just want the immediate gratification, which is something I actually read about in a few sports psychology books and stuff lately. We want that immediate gratification, especially children, you just want it now. You don't want to have to wait it out because that's boring and no one likes that. But Earl taught me, to enjoy that bit of it. Enjoy the graft, if that makes sense, because it'll make the destination feel so much more rewarding. And there's so many good times to be had in the journey, like, training days, meeting new people. Say your dog has an issue and you go to a specialist and you make a friend out of the specialist. Just random examples of things that can happen during that journey that a lot of us just want to get out of the way so we can get to the destination. He taught me that all good things take time and the best things in life come to those who wait. So again, same point, but also dogs don't rush around, do they? Unless they're Arrow. But Earl, like, he's so calm. He just lived in the moment. He just chilled out. You know, he'd go on a walk at his pace. You know, he wouldn't be rushing to get it over with and get home to get on to the next thing. You know, so patience is a massive one, and I think anyone who gets a dog will be taught patience, no matter the age, especially young people like I was when I was 8. But dogs teach us patience. It just is what it is, especially when we're training them. Training a dog takes ages, so you've got to have patience. There's really no choice. Number 8 is education. So he taught me to love learning new things and embrace uncertainty. You know, so by embrace uncertainty, I mean not be afraid of not knowing something, and be okay asking for help, being like, yeah, you know what, I don't know this, but enjoy learning, not being frustrated because I don't know something, but actively think, oh, I can go learn this now, and enjoy the process of learning new things, which I had to do when I got in, because I'd never had a dog before and I'd never done agility. I literally started from the very bottom and now I'm here, but I have learnt to enjoy the learning process through Earl and training him, and now I'm still learning to this day. You know, I still don't know everything. I'm nowhere near knowing everything, in fact. But he really did teach me to love learning new things, which I still have now. And again, as I just admitted that I really don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know, but Earl taught me to embrace that. You know, I'll learn it eventually. You know, I'll go out and seek that knowledge, and it'll be okay. And he taught me that no one knows everything, and there is something new to be learnt every day, and that's quite exciting to think about it. You can learn new things every single day. When I got Earl, I did literally learn something new every day. You know, teaching me a new trick. In the agility world, there's always new things to learn, so he definitely taught me the power of education and enjoying learning, and, you know, striving to learn more, but also not beating yourself up for not knowing things and stuff like that. So, number 9, grief. So, again, losing Earl taught me how to deal with grief in a healthy way. Again, it's the first time I've really experienced grief, and I know I'm very lucky to be able to say that at nearly 22 years old. I've never experienced grief as bad as I have with Earl, luckily, to be honest. I've been lucky enough not to face that before. But yeah, again, a bit like anything that you have never experienced before, you're not going to be brilliant at it to start with. It's going to hurt, you're going to be confused, you're going to wonder how to deal with it, you're not going to know. But obviously going through this process has taught me, because at the end of the day, we have to get on with things, and just, don't we? We just have to get on with things. Life goes on, no matter what happens to us. Night keeps turning into day, day keeps turning into night, you've got responsibilities, I've still got to get up and go to work, and I still want to go to the gym and keep up all my routines and stuff like that. But that's a different topic. I am going to do a podcast episode on how to deal with losing a pet, or how I dealt with losing Earl, just to help anyone else who's going through this, because we all have to. All of us that have dogs, unfortunately, they don't live as long as us. I bloody wish they did. I wish they lived longer than us. But, all of us dog people, we're going to have to go through it probably a lot of times in our lives. So Earl has taught me for the first time how to deal with that grief of losing a pet when I've never dealt with it. I've never had to deal with it before. And, it never makes it, it doesn't make it easy. I don't think it'll ever get easier. I think the only thing is, you will acquire more skills and knowledge of how to deal with it and what to do to make yourself feel a little bit, to manage it a little bit better and make yourself feel a little bit less completely distraught. If you go through it multiple times and as you experience it more often, but I can't imagine that'll ever get easier. I just think every single individual dog you have going through that will be just as heartbreaking as the first time. But again, it is just something we have to accept as dog owners. And they always say it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all, which is so true. I would rather have gone through the past few weeks of feeling the worst I've ever felt than not have had the last 13 years of just pure amazingness with Earl. So number 10 is slowing down. So the power of just slowing down. Again, it sounds really woo-woo and spiritual, but Earl taught me to stop and smell the roses every now and again, He taught me to stop rushing and take a moment to just breathe. He was the most chilled out character in the entire world. he was so chilled to the point where he was horizontal most of the time. He loved just going out and sunbathing, just laying on the settee. When he went for walks, he'd just stop to smell. He'd never be in a rush, and that really, just seeing that and experiencing that really taught me to just, again, a bit like the appreciation point, just stop, look around, just breathe, just be for a little bit, and yeah, just slow down a bit. Like, we're all so fast-paced and rushing around and burning ourselves out, and Earl just really taught me the importance of slowing down a little bit and, just pacing ourselves in life, really, because life's meant to be enjoyable, and Earl just did. Earl just enjoyed it. He just enjoyed himself. That was his only goal, enjoy himself. That's super admirable. Oh God, voice break, admirable. I know dogs don't have all the responsibilities we have and time frames and stuff like that. They have is it, I was about to say conception, that's completely the wrong word. No, oh my God, I can't remember the word. I just said conception on my agility podcast. What's the word? I can't remember the word. They have no, understanding of time, you know what I'm trying to say? Obviously it's easier for them to chill than us, because we know the time, we know the deadlines, we know what, our day, our routine every day is, based completely on time. But yeah, he just really did teach me to slow down, and no, I'm still awful at it, to be honest. I'm still need reminding, every so often I need to remind myself, but Earl did teach me that, and I now can remind myself, no, stop it, you're going too fast, you're rushing. So number 11 is hard work. So right from the very start, he taught me the importance of working hard for what you want. So obviously I had to work hard to save up for Earl to start with. I had to work hard as in, yes, I was like 6 or 7, but I had to work hard mentally to, when I got those couple of quid of pocket money from my grandparents, I'd have to be disciplined, and discipline is another thing he's taught me that I'll tie into hard work. Hard work and discipline, you have to, discipline is mental hard work, to be fair. So it's not just physical hard work, it's mental hard work in the form of discipline. I had to be disciplined enough to go, no, I'm not spending that on ice cream, I'm saving it for my dog. And then I finally saved up enough and got Earl. And then obviously I started training him and went into the world of agility, and it was so hard work. Earl wasn't an easy dog as far as agility goes. He was easy at home, but he wasn't an easy agility dog. He was very hard to motivate, and I really struggled with the driving speed aspect from him. But I just had to put in loads of hard work to get what I wanted, which was the success in agility, and we did achieve that for the level we were at the time. And he taught me to stop. Oh, sorry, I've lost where I am. He taught me to enjoy hard work instead of resenting it. So again, bit back to enjoying the process, the journey, not just the destination. He taught me to actually, put my head down and get stuck into the graft and really embrace that graft instead of resenting it and thinking of it as a chore, which is a super important life lesson, especially at that age. Number 12, resilience. He taught me to keep persevering even when things felt impossible. So there are a lot of shows where he just didn't want to run. He was out of the course time by like 2 or 3 seconds every single time, and I thought it's impossible for him to get inside the course time, to get that last win to grade 6 or whatever. And at the time it really did feel impossible, but he taught me just keep persevering, and the odds are it will eventually work out, which it did. And he taught me not to let challenges defeat me and to push through the tough times. So, and I still have those to this day, and if it wasn't for Earl and Ethel, to be honest, I think I really have struggled with Arrow's agility journey. It hasn't been easy anyway, but he taught me to keep pushing even when it's really tough and you can't see a way out. Like with Arrow, when he wouldn't run, that to me felt like an impossible challenge, and it was so tough and heartbreaking, and I cried so many tears, and I wasn't even that young, but it was horrible. But I pushed through that, took it as a challenge, didn't let it defeat me, and turned what felt like the impossible into something that was possible with time and hard work. Again, back to that graft. So he really did teach me resilience, which has paid off like mad for Arrow, as you've seen. 13, the importance of the basic necessities. Again, a bit back to the gratitude, but he taught me how important the basics are. So, with dogs, as long as our dogs receive food, water, shelter, hygiene, exercise and affection, they're happy. We can all learn from that. We can all learn from Earl and all of our dogs, to be honest. Ara's a bit different. He's constantly wanting more exercise and attention, but Earl was just happy with the basics. He got fed in the morning, he'd have a drink, he'd lie in the settee in his shelter. I'd give him a bath if he got a bit stinky, and he was happy with that. A few walks every now and again, just pottering, and obviously cuddles, and that was his life. He was happy, more than happy with that life. And if only humans were like that, So 14 is forgiveness. He taught me to forgive those who do me wrong and move forward. So I've always been quite bad at this. So if someone offends me deeply or does something nasty or whatever, for whatever reason, I struggle to forget it, and I hold a bit of a grudge. I can't help it. I just resent them after that, which is not ideal. I would like to be more forgiving. But dogs are so forgiving, and having Earl and watching him forgive, if I'd have an argument with my mum or something and be shouting or whatever, he'd be like, oh, what's going on? But then he wouldn't hold that against you, 5 minutes later he's completely fine, stuff like that. Or if I forgot to feed him one night at 6 p.m. when I normally did, and then it was 7:30, I was like, oh, I need to feed him. I wouldn't, if I went in, he wouldn't be screaming and shouting and not want cuddles or anything like that. It sounds stupid, but our dogs are just happy with living with us. As long as they've got us, they are genuinely happy. And yeah, he's just taught me to try and forgive people more freely. Just be a bit more mellow, just like Earl was. So the last point, which is 15, and I'm glad this is the last point because I've just seen on my GoPro that it says the battery's low, so I hope it doesn't cut me out. We've actually been going for nearly half an hour. I thought this would be a really short episode. So 15 is living in the moment, and this is my final point. So he taught me to live for the present moment, and I'm still bad at this, but he taught me to stop dwelling on the past and worrying about the future and just live in the present moment. Think about it. Our dogs have no recollection in their minds of what happened in the past, and they have no idea what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. They can't plan. They can't, they don't remember as far back as us. I don't know how much dogs remember from the past, to be honest. But they definitely can't think about the future. Unless it's getting towards tea time, and then they're like, oh, my tea's in 5 minutes, I'm going to start whining. That was Earl, bless him. But yeah, he just taught me, live in the moment, and also every moment with Earl was absolutely precious. And every moment with your dog is not to be taken for granted. So when you're with your dog, just sit and appreciate being there in that moment with your dog, because you'll never get that moment back. Hopefully you'll have many more moments like that, but it'll never be the same one. So just appreciate your dogs, guys, and that is my 15 points. So all the lessons that Earl taught me, there's probably so many more that he taught me that I haven't included, but we're getting near to half an hour. I think 15 is plenty. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it didn't make you too sad when I was talking about it at the start, but if you think it's a good idea for me to do a podcast episode on how I dealt with losing Earl, and my tips on doing so, for when other people go through it, then let me know. And as always, keep giving me feedback for the podcast, so things you like, constructive criticism. Keep giving me episode ideas and guest ideas. I've got, I think, 3 more guest ideas, hopefully, that I need to reach out and ask them and get those lined up, so that's very exciting. And I think we're on episode 23 now, so I can't believe that. That's crazy. I was looking at it earlier, all my episodes, and yeah, I'm pretty sure this is 23, so that is crazy. I'm quite impressed with myself keeping it up every single Wednesday for 23 weeks. Pat on the back, Summer. Good job. Good job. A little round of applause for myself. Whee! Anyway, and obviously, last but not least, if you could leave feedback for the podcast, so rating or review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, that would be great. I'll leave the links. Links. So social media, I'm active every single day on all of these social media channels. I will put them here on the video, and down below in the YouTube video description. So make sure to follow me on all of those. I'm active every day, and you can keep up, give me a follow, and never miss another episode or post or story or anything. So use all these links to your advantage. Sorry, I keep having voice breaks, and connect with me because it's super fun on all of my socials. So that is it for this week, guys. Again, thank you for listening. I will talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.